All right, so I want to do this as calmly as possible today because I feel like this segment, Cody, and this show can just go sideways very quickly after, we'll call it a failure in human officiating and robotic officiating during the Phillies Braves game last night. Christian Gokel alongside Cody Queen and Cam Urshry here on Second Down. Glad to have you alongside on this Monday afternoon. The Braves bounced back in a significant way this past weekend, winning 4 straight. Ronald Acuna, Freddie Freeman on a tear right now. Ozzie Albies starting to come around, as well as Dansby Swanson. So a lot of positives from this weekend, but we have to start today in the obvious place. Top of the ninth, game tied 6-6. You have a runner on third, 2 outs. Short pop fly. Marcell Ozuna catches the ball, sends it to home. The Phillies send their third baseman, Bohm, home. Slides in, feet first. Cody's put the picture up on the screen. Slides in, feet first. Travis d'Arnaud catches the ball, moves over, blocks the plate, seemingly applies the tag, but then the ump behind the plate with the safe signal, Phillies up 7-6, top of the ninth. Braves would go on to lose the game. But let's go back to the game-deciding play. It's called safe at the plate. There is an immediate officials review. This wasn't a challenge from the Braves bench. This is just an official review on the plate. Send it up to New York where all the officials are. I mean, how do you guys imagine that looks? Number one, when they say they're sending it up to New York for the officials to review it, what do you think that looks like? Because I imagine like the control center in like every like space movie we've ever seen, where there's like 4 rows of desks and there's like multiple technicians.
There's like 50 screens.
Yeah, there's like one commander that's sort of standing there stressed out with a cup of coffee, and he's got like the headset on, communicating back with the umps, and like there's like somebody stressed out, like
he's sweating. He's got like sleeves rolled up.
They're like wiping sweat off their heads, and they're breaking pencils and picking up new ones and trying to figure it out. That's what I always imagine when they say they're sending it up to New York to the control center. I'm like, it's got to be pretty cool. In reality, it's like 1 or 2 guys looking at a laptop screen and looking at all the different replays from ESPN. Last night was a nationally televised game, and all of the replays, Cam, never saw his foot touch the bag, and seemingly in all of them, his foot is off the bag, and the tag is applied by Travis d'Arnaud. So you get the call wrong live in the game, and then you go back to New York, which is supposed to be the fail-safe. If we get it wrong on the field, they'll get it right up there. Send it back, and they still get it wrong. I mean, Cam, what are we supposed to take away from this?
They got robbed. That's what you're supposed to take. I watched this video at least about 10 times last night, trying to be my own official. I'm like, okay, at first I was like, what's going on? And then I saw that the manager was like, he didn't touch the bag, he didn't touch the base. Yeah, they got robbed. It's pretty obvious he didn't touch it.
Now, I will say this, Cody, and I say this in football all the time when we talk about blown calls in football. Games don't come down to one play. If you want to win this game, maybe don't give up bombs to Bryce Harper, right? Maybe don't give up multiple home runs in this game. Maybe pitch a little bit better. Maybe get guys over when you need to get guys over. Don't leave guys with runners in scoring position, right? So it's not going to come down to one play. But when it's 6-6 against, what I will say this, a very good Phillies team. I think the Phillies and the Braves are going to be the 2 teams battling the whole way for this division title, and this division could seemingly come down to one game, this game, where the umps, Cody, clearly got it wrong. But if you're not going to get it right with the replay system, why have the replay system?
Well, that's it. The umps called it. The backup is the replay system.
Right.
So, a human error occurred in a pro sports game. Now they have all these cameras and everything to review it. So I don't really blame the umps. I blame the review officials 110%. A human error could have been corrected with all these cameras and some guys looking at a screen where it's clearly, unless someone's got some bad eyes, and it's clearly no one touched the bag and d'Arnaud got him out. Baseball, they're not, just like me and you were saying before, they're not going to say anything.
No,
they're not. And that's what pisses me off the most, is that you're gonna screw over the Braves and then not even have the courtesy of saying our bad.
Yeah, I mean, college football, every now and then you'll get the SEC come out and say, hey, our officials got this play wrong.
Yep.
Here's how it should have been executed. MLB is not going to do that. I think the NBA does it too. I think the NBA puts out reports about the calls that they got wrong. But looking back at this, the thing that drives me crazy the most about replays is, well, is it enough to overturn the call on the field? I don't think that should matter whatsoever when you're making this decision. You should get the video evidence in, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, whatever you're reviewing, get the video evidence in and just make the call. I think the call on the field should have absolutely zero to do with the final decision, because you're kind of just using the official who's having to make that bang, bang call. You're kind of using them as your scapegoat, saying like, well, that's the call our guy made on the field. We can't see any evidence to overturn it, so we're going to stick with our guy's call. Why? I think there's a lot of it, Cody, that where Major League Baseball umps don't necessarily want to counter their guys because umpires are catching a lot of flack lately. I mean, we're not even a week removed from the Mets winning in walk-off fashion when a guy leaned into the strike zone and maybe had his elbow guard hit. Maybe. I'm still not convinced.
I don't think he did.
I'm still not convinced that ball hit Conforto's elbow. But we're 1 week removed from them being like, yeah, that's the strike. No, I mean, he hit him. That's game over. Game over. It's like, can you review that? No, we're out of here. I got a dinner, and then I got a plane to catch. Good luck next time. It's one. Hey guys, it's 1 game out of 162, right? Hey, don't worry about it. No big deal, right? 1 game out of 162. You'll get them next time. We got to hit the road. All right, so appreciate it. No, I mean, that's baloney. If you're going to have the replay system, use it. And I don't think the replay system there is there to speed up the game or anything like that. I think the replay system is there to get it right. And that's a complaint a lot of people have is, wow, the replays take forever. I'm of the opinion, I don't care how long it takes as long as you get it right.
I don't care how long a game takes for any sport as long as you're right, getting it right. I don't care if it takes twice as long as a football game. As long as you're getting it right, as long as you're playing the way you're supposed to be playing by the rules and not screwing players over like this over a series that, just like you were saying, this game could eventually, we could be going into 160 something games at the end of the season and be like, man, that one game screwed us over because they were battling the whole year.
Let me pull up the Braves schedule here. I'm not sure when the last time they're going to play the Phillies is, but again, Travis d'Arnaud talking after the game was asked, should officials or umpires have to be interviewed, or should they be interviewed after games to explain calls? And he said, not the guys necessarily making the bang bang plays, but the guys in New York absolutely should. I absolutely should. Maybe it's at the end of the night every night, or the next morning you have a press conference with those guys who are or women up there making those decisions in the headquarters in New York. I would absolutely be here for that. I mean, why not? What's wrong with that? You made the decision. You stick by it. You're the ones who can sit back, drinking a cup of coffee, reviewing the tape in a climate-controlled place. Nobody's diving at your knees. You get to make that decision. Why shouldn't you be interviewed about it? It's because they know they get it wrong and they don't want to have to answer questions. They just want to kind of exist. And I think that stinks. The final time the Braves will play the Phillies is the last week in September. So they played the Phillies at home for the 3 times in the last 6 games of the season. So you could be sitting there with that final game, and it could be a 1 game where you need to beat the Phillies and you tie them, or you could be sitting there because of this 2 games back and you're having to hope the Phillies lose versus having it in your own hands. So terrible call by the umps last night. I think everybody well aware of that, but just a lot of questions now rising in Major League Baseball officiating. It's been a really inconsistent year in terms of ball and strike so far. And what's going to be funny, and I'm going to be curious to see how Major League Baseball addresses this, the better technology gets and the more accessible you make viewing this sport to the fans, the more you're going to get fans. There's an umpire scorecard that I follow on Twitter. The more you're going to get stuff like this, where we're seeing just how blatantly bad some of the calls are, where you're missing, they call them true strikes, where you have the strike zone diagnosed by these computers now. And I understand different umpires have different strike zones, but they have something called true strike, where no matter where you're calling it, this should be a strike. It's on the edge of the plate, and it's between lower than his chest and higher than his knees, right? It should be a strike. And there's umpires who are only getting like 80% of those right. Like, those are the ones you have to get right.
The pro umpires.
Those are the ones you have to get right. And that's one of the reasons why I've said multiple times, especially with balls and strikes, you should just take the best of the best and stick them behind home plate.
Yes.
No more of this rotating guys every 4 games around there. Like,
Well,
just,
they got to get their experience, dude. You should already have enough experience by the time you get to the major leagues. You know what I mean? That's the end
well,
of it.
how many teams do you have in Major League Baseball? 30?
Yes.
You have 30 teams in Major League Baseball, and you have, so at the most, you're playing 15 games a night.
Yeah.
You can't tell me there's not 15 guys in the world who are elite at calling balls and strikes.
Yep.
Why not just leave them? Now, could it be tougher when you get to 45? Maybe. When you're having to rotate those guys in there every time? Sure, that could be tough. You're going to have some inconsistent nights. I just think when you're at the premier level of a sport, it doesn't get higher than Major League Baseball, right? It's not like soccer where you have the pro level and you go play in the World Cup, right? Nothing in baseball is higher than Major League Baseball. So why not have the preeminent 15 guys calling balls and strikes? I don't get. But again, another missed call. Then you blow it in New York as well. So, I mean, great. I mean, New York, probably not huge Braves fans. I'm not saying there's a conspiracy there. Maybe there's a little bit of a conspiracy there, but
this guy.
a lot of positive news to take away from the weekend. Again, Braves, it doesn't feel like it, but the Braves do win the series. They beat them 8-1 on Friday, 5-4 on Saturday, and obviously losing that one 7-6 on Sunday. How about Ronald Acuna in this series? 9 of 13, 2 home runs, 2 doubles, 4 RBIs, game-saving catch in the corner of the outfield, playing some pretty elite defense right now. I mean, Ronald Acuna, Cam, at least towards the start of the season, might be the best player in baseball.
Yeah, I'm glad they got that. You know, they turned it around after starting 0-3. But I mean, I knew they was going. Well, 0-4. Well, I knew they was going to end up getting hot. Had they won last night, they'd be 5-4. 5 games.
Yeah, they would have 5-4 and top of the division.
Yep, tied with the Phillies and everything. But I mean, if you're a Braves fan like us, I mean, you go out of this 4-5, started off 0-4, you can't be nothing but happy, to be honest.
This is the swagger Braves that I'm looking for, man.
Ronnie wearing a Rockies hat.
Dude, I'm just saying I like to cover him. We just got beat down by the San Francisco Giants. But these Braves that we've covered them last year,
fun to watch.
So fun. Ronnie out there, dude, swatting them and this.
How about legging out a line drive to shortstop?
It was a routine out. Old boy had wheels, smoked it, dude. Hey, that's the kind of hustle I like seeing from baseball players.
But some good news for the Braves. They will take on the Marlins for a 4-game set, while the Phillies have to take on the Nationals in a 4-game set. So I have to imagine after the next 4 days, Braves are going to be at least tied, if not in the lead for the division. So BJ Bennett, if you're listening right now, calm the hell down, because BJ was like ready to scrap the season after the 0-4 start. You got 4 games coming up with the Marlins, but I do think it's going to be a tough game tonight. The Braves going with again. He had a great outing his first time out, going 5 innings, giving up 0 earned runs in that 7 inning. It was the second game of the doubleheader. He went head-to-head with Strasburg, but has to go up against the really talented Sandy Alcantara for the Marlins. I think he might be their best pitcher. I mean, dude's a stud, throws heat. Braves have not had a ton of luck against him. He's coming in with a 1.5 ERA in 12 innings, already has 17 strikeouts through just those 12 innings. So,
sneaky Marlins, you know that.
I mean, I would love to see the Braves just go in and sweep this one out and just get rolling here. Just a couple of 4-game win streaks here at the beginning of the season. Just get everything back on track, and then you can really start rolling into the meat of the season. But again, you got 4-game set coming up, a couple of day games coming up to end the week. The Marlins will wrap up their series with the Braves coming up on Thursday. That is a 12:20 first pitch. We will not have a show on that day because we'll have full coverage for you of the Atlanta Braves.
Home or not?
It's a home game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, no,
right.
4 straight against the Marlins at Truist. And then the Braves hit the road. They have a day game coming up on Friday against the Cubs. That's a 2:20 first pitch. Also playing 2:20 on Saturday. So we'll have full coverage for you. If you're listen, Thursday, Friday, you're stuck at work, can't watch the game, just tune it over to ESPN Radio. We will have the full pregame, live play-by-play call, and the post-game coverage for the Atlanta Braves coming up this week. Christian Gokel alongside Cody Queen and Cam Ursery here on a Second Down. Paul Feinbaum had something interesting to say about the state of rivalries in the SEC. We'll dive into that when we come back right here on Second Down. Welcome back into Second Down right here on ESPN Radio. Christian Gokel alongside Cody Queen. And I think Cameron Shree, I'm just looking at the backdrop of his room right now. But we are, of course, presented to you by
What picture
the
is that?
Uniform Source. Oh, we got a door opening, and Cam is
Chris Collinsworth slide. Get up in there, baby.
No. Hold on.
Woo!
Cam has the AirPods in. So what I'm curious about is, Cam, could you leave right now and just walk around your house and do the show?
Of course.
That's amazing.
You sound so old.
In the next segment, I want to like cook something or like do a chore inside your house while Wilt's doing it, because this is the most 2020-21 version of this show possible. Is Cam just with one AirPod in doing the show while also doing chores. But a lot to dive into on the show today. We're going to catch up with Connor Riley from Dog Nation. About half the SEC has their spring games coming up this weekend. We'll dive into G-Day with him. That's coming up at 2 o'clock. You'll be able to catch it on the SEC Network on Saturday. But Connor's going to join us at 3:35. Some key storylines there. Backup quarterback job, wide receiver rotation. What's the starting offensive line going to look like? Nolan Smith, number one player in the country coming out, originally from Savannah, went down to IMG. Biggest recruit in Georgia's class. Is this a make or break year for Nolan and the Dogs?
Get off my boy.
A chance after Azeez Ojulari has moved on for him to step in. Jermaine Johnson is now at Florida State. Chance for Nolan Smith to step in and be the guy who becomes Georgia's next good pass rusher. So is this a make or break year for him? Because he has a ton of talented dudes right behind him. So we'll catch up with Connor Riley about all that. Going to talk to our friend Rich Stiles coming up at 4:20. Hideki Matsuyama wins the 85th Masters, and we'll dive into that here in just a little bit. But Paul Feinbaum had something interesting to say. He joined the roundtable on WJOX in Birmingham, and when you look around the SEC right now, what, in your mind, Cam, are the great rivalries in the SEC?
Auburn, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and honestly, that's as far as I can go. You can say Alabama, LSU.
There's a ton of good ones. I'd say Alabama, LSU, the Iron Bowl, obviously, Alabama, Auburn. I think the Egg Bowl is a traditionally great football game, Mississippi State and Ole Miss. So there's a ton of really good rivalries. I think Florida, Tennessee is a really good one as well. But Paul Feinbaum joined the roundtable on JOX in Birmingham and said that he thinks right now the most vicious rivalry in the SEC and the best rivalry in the SEC is Georgia, Florida. I'll read exactly what he said. I don't want to say anything blasphemous a week and a day after Easter Sunday, but Alabama-Auburn is no longer really the driving rivalry, I think, in the Southeastern Conference, because everyone understands the reality of it. Nick Saban is going to win maybe 92.3% of the games or whatever. On my program, which you know is more of an SEC-centric show, if I want to just drop some blood into the water and see sharks circling, it's about Georgia or Florida, and it's vicious. They, being Florida fans, love nothing more than to remind Georgia fans that they haven't won a national championship in 40 years. Doesn't matter what Kirby Smart has done. So, yeah, I think it's a continuum of the SEC's current-day great rivalry, and it is vicious. I mean, I don't think he's wrong there. Number one, you have the fact that the Iron Bowl hasn't been overly competitive recently, right? Nick Saban pretty much owns that series. I know Bo Nix had the upset a couple years ago, but for the most part, it's pretty much a stretch run of dominance by Alabama, then an upset every now and then by Auburn, stretch run of dominance by Alabama, upset by Auburn, right? Alabama, LSU. Outside of the Joe Burrow senior year, it's been pretty much dominance by Alabama. If you think back a year before the national championship year by Alabama, LSU got shut out in that rivalry. So when I look at Georgia, Florida, both of those teams, at least last year, top 10 teams going into that game. This year, Florida, depending on what they're able to do with Emory Jones and that offense, I think this could be another top 10 game. And it's, when you break it down, I kind of view it as a quarterfinals in college football, right?
Okay.
Because you look at it, or no, excuse me, it would be the round of 16 and then the SEC championships, the quarterfinals. But it's just, when you're looking at it, that's kind of what it is, because Florida or Georgia, whoever wins that game, typically is going to go on to represent the SEC East and the SEC Championship. SEC Championship's the quarterfinal, and then you go to the college football playoff if you win the SEC Championship. So that's one of those season-defining games now where Auburn, for the most part, is a team that right now losing 4 or 5 games a season, right? LSU, we don't know if they're going to be able to bounce back after just a travesty of a season down there in Baton Rouge. And Alabama's Alabama. They've been smoking the SEC West for the last few years. So, I mean, I don't inherently disagree with him that the game in Jacksonville has become the predominant rivalry in the SEC.
1 year Florida. I think Georgia's about to smoke Florida this year. I think Georgia's
this coming from a serious UCF Florida
immensely
LSU fan.
LSU fan freaking this year. But I really, dude, I don't think for a while it's not going to be a competition. Kirby Smart's out there recruiting out of his mind. Maybe for a while, they had like Kyle Trask and Kyle Pitts. Not going to have a team like that again. Georgia's going to have the team over and over
again, but they're not going to have it this year.
No, and I'm not sure about the future because, dude, you got Gus Malzahn over there recruiting Central Florida and stuff like that, losing recruits.
Wearing the guys during their spring game wearing their Twitter handles.
On the back of their jersey, swagger, baby. But no, I think it's Iron Bowl still. I still think it is.
But why?
Because Bo Nix will come up. They're always closer games. You can't always say that they're always blowouts though either.
They're not always blowouts, but like I kind of look
they're
at
close. They're real close, fun games.
Not this past year. It wasn't.
Oh yeah, not
close.
Last year.
But
yeah,
I mean, when you look at the Iron Bowl, I kind of look at it now very much like Georgia Tech. I know Auburn fans may wreck their car when I say that, but it's the wins for Auburn become so significant because there's so many years between when they haven't won. I mean, I want to pull it up, but I mean, Cam, would you disagree with Paul Feinbaum in saying that Georgia Florida is the preeminent rivalry right now in the SEC? I mean, I think stakes, probably where both teams are going to be ranked. I don't think it gets bigger.
It's hard. I go back to history. Like if you look at Auburn used to win, Cam Newton comes back 24-0, kick six. Auburn destroyed Bama. How many years ago? 2018 when they killed Georgia 1 week, killed Bama the next. So I don't know. I know Georgia and Florida for the most part is a more even matchup. But here recently, what is Georgia 4-1 against Florida in the past 5 years or 3-2?
Keep on going, I think, man.
Yeah, and so Auburn is 1-4 or 2-3 against Bama, so the records are kind of even. This is a tough one.
Since 2010, Alabama is 7-4 against Auburn,
okay.
And Auburn won by 1 point in 2010 with Cam Newton as their quarterback. The next year they got beat 42-14, and the year after that they got beat 49-0. In 2013, Auburn had the national championship team, the team that went to the national championship, How do they beat Alabama? Kick six. That won a one-score game, 34-28. The next year, Alabama wins 55-44. Year after that, they win 29-13. Year after that, they win 30-12. 2017, you had Auburn win 26-14. Next year, 52-21. The year 2 years ago, Tua gets hurt.
Yeah.
A couple weeks prior, Mac Jones is there. Auburn with a couple of pick sixes wins 48-45, and then last year Alabama wins 42-13.
Close game, yeah.
42-13. So, and listen, Brian, you just let go of your coach. I mean, Gus Malzahn got fired. Say mutually parted ways, whatever you want to say. Gus Malzahn got fired, and you bring in a new coach. That's usually not a good sign inside of a program that things are going in the right direction. I think it might take Brian Harsin a little bit of time to get that team. I mean, I don't even know what their lines of scrimmage are going to look like next year. They moved the big fella, the tight end fullback that weighed like 299 pounds. They just moved him to defensive line, which, can't have anything fun in college football anymore. I mean, you have a 299-pound tight end. We got to move him to fullback or to defensive line. But in terms of stakes, Auburn will probably, and like, look at the games, right? The last few Iron Bowls, Auburn has been unranked number 16 and number 22. So, like, what is Auburn playing for at the end of the year? Bowl seeding? Whereas
playing against Alabama.
Whereas Georgia and Florida are both playing for a chance to go to the SEC championship
and just lose,
and
just like everybody
to the SEC. Well, at least, but if you go there and win, like Georgia did in 2017 against Auburn, if you go there and win, you're going to go to the college football playoffs.
Yeah, 1 year isn't making anything. It's usually you lose to Alabama in SEC championship
or LSU
game. Or LSU. Yeah,
but that being said, you're going there with a chance. I mean, Florida played Alabama down to the wire. That was Alabama's closest game all season.
All I read from that is an L. That's all. That doesn't matter. You lost Nick Saban. That doesn't matter.
I mean, that's fine, but I mean
and he lost three.
But
and you lost what, 2 more in a row after that.
You can literally do that to the rest of college football.
So you'll win, you'll lose close to Nick Saban, and then it just derails your season, and you lose 2 more.
You lose 1 more.
Well, you lost
the
the game
Saban.
before. Yeah.
I mean, Florida ended up losing what, 4 in a row.
Yeah.
But
Went
again,
downhill at the end real quick.
but again, you got to the SEC championship, and Florida was a play away, like a dude not getting wrecked by a wide receiver on an interception away from going to the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
So I just think in terms of stakes, in terms of standings, in terms of, like you said, the viciousness of the rivalry. And again, this is Paul Feinbaum, who is based in where? Alabama. When did his show get big? When you had dudes from Alabama poisoning the tree in Toomer's Corner. Yeah, at Toomer's Corner after Cam Newton came back and beat Alabama, right? This is a dude who is at the heartbeat of Alabama saying this. This isn't a guy in Georgia saying or Florida saying this. Is a guy in Alabama, and one of the biggest voices in college football saying this. I'm kind of with them. At least in 2021, the biggest rivalry in the SEC is Georgia Florida.
I'm not saying it's like a landslide, Auburn, Alabama. I think they're both going to be fun, clean game, but there's obviously one team that you think is going to win, that you think is going to dominate. That's Georgia, and the other team on the other one's Alabama.
I don't think that so whatsoever. Florida won this past year, and they lost the year before by 7 points.
Loss. That's all I'm getting from these.
Okay.
Is L's.
Okay,
man.
so what about this year?
They're going to lose. I mean, Florida's
No.
lose.
In 2020, they won.
Oh, yeah, they
They
won.
beat the hell out of Georgia. They put up like 500 yards.
Yeah,
in the
but they're not
first
having
half.
another team like that. You know what I mean? Like,
I think this
they're
is
not gonna have
a
another team
Florida fan trying to jinx his way into
I'm an
another
LSU
win.
fan. I know you're talking
Trying
about
to jinx his way into another win. But I don't know, man. Like, what other?
You guys are just scared of Florida. That's what it is.
So wait, are you? I'm so confused right now. Your takes are going everywhere right now.
You're scared of Florida. That's what it is, and you shouldn't be, because Georgia's obviously a more dominant team.
This is
The better
this is
team.
clearly Cody trying to jinx Georgia. And
Let go.
it's not gonna work, Cam. I mean, do you see this pandering over here from Cody?
He's acting like he's not a Florida fan, like he
I know.
wasn't hyped when they beat us.
I'm a Florida fan right now.
Oh,
Florida
Lord.
is. If you want to talk about rivalry, Florida's 5-6 in the last 11 games against Georgia.
They're the last five games.
That's as close, 2-3. That's literally as close as you can get. In 5 games, 2-3 is as close as you can get.
Yeah, that is. I mean, I think Georgia's going to stretch it out these next couple
And
of years.
before the 3 years, Georgia won in a row, Florida won 3 in a row. And the 3 years before that, Georgia won 3 in a row. And the 3 years before that, Florida won 3 in a row.
I think Florida's going to get smacked down.
So, I mean, if we're going by recent history, Florida's probably going to win 2 more in a row. If we're going by recent history, I mean,
light them up, dog fans.
I would lose my mind. I would lose my mind. if
how
they
many
lost
times
to
has
Florida next
how
year.
many times has Georgia rolled into Jacksonville with an unbelievable football team just to get smoked?
Oh yeah, they've done it plenty of times. I'll give you that. But
2000,
happens this
number
year-
5 Florida, number 8 Georgia, 49-10. So you want to talk about history?
Yeah, it's painful.
You want to talk about history?
Not good.
No, this is good. This is a vicious rivalry, like you said. We literally have a Florida Gator All-American who caught a touchdown pass in Jacksonville to beat a Georgia team that didn't lose another game that season, a member of the Florida Georgia Hall of Fame. Like there is
He has a statue.
yeah, his bust
Yeah,
is literally in a museum about this football game, and people will call him a homer that are Florida fans about Georgia when he has a Georgia take on a show based in Georgia.
People still like recognize him because I don't know, been like that from his like college days. So when I first got here, I was very new. You guys have baptized me in fire with college football, and I went to the opening game with Miami and Florida and watching him walk around. They still remember him.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, he's the one who screwed over the Dogs. I was like, oh my God. I was like, holy
No, but
smokes.
that's how vicious the rivalry is. Ben
Yeah.
literally won one of the games for Florida, and Georgia or Florida fans will like viciously attack him.
Young
As he-
college kids that probably were like real little when it happened.
Yeah,
They remember him still. They're like, yo.
they're not the weird ones. The weird ones are like the 40, 50-year-olds who yell at Ben when he has a positive take about Georgia. Traitor! You calling a top 10 team good? That you're a traitor. Steve Spurrier would never recruit you if he heard you talking like this. Like that's what we get from the Florida fans.
We do, yeah.
And the Georgia fans are just as bad coming back the other way. If any of us say something positive about Florida, it's just as bad coming back the other way. And that's what makes rivalries great. There's nothing reasonable about them.
They
right?
get on me on social media. They're all like,
Yeah, there's literally nothing reasonable about rivalries, and that's what makes them great. So Paul Feinbaum thinks what used to formerly known as the world's largest outdoor cocktail party is the best rivalry currently
Why is it formally known as that?
in the SEC, because alcohol and college students and underage drinking and people being lame. It's forever in my heart will be known as that. But since we carry the dogs and they have asked not to call it that, we just gotta it's like the Red River rivalry.
Yeah, I can see it just tearing you up.
It's like the Red River rivalry out in Texas and Oklahoma. The Red River rivalry. We know what it's really called.
Yeah, I know what it's
we know what the history of that game is. We got more to come here on Second Down. If you miss any portion of the show, check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcast as well. Big show coming up today on 3 and Out, and then we'll have Miami Marlins, Atlanta Braves coming up for you tonight. Pregame show starts at 6:20. Have all that coming up for you right here on ESPN Radio. Hideki Matsuyama is your 85th Masters champion. Gets the green jacket after a 10 under performance at Augusta National. And really, after Saturday, it never seemed like his lead was in question. I know he had a couple guys get close at the end, making it tight, but for the most part, able to keep everybody at arm's distance. Justin Rose, your leader after the first round, then goes +2 the rest of the way in the tournament. But I think just really good, Cody, to have the Masters back in its natural time in the spring. How much of it did you consume this weekend? I know you're a dad, you got a lot of responsibilities out there.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to find time just to take in the scenery.
No, I did the same thing as Robbie Ross did. I had the app and everything. I was always keeping up with it and everything. Of course, I deleted it today, just like usually everybody else does.
No, you got to hold on to that bad boy.
I don't have it on anymore, but I was keeping up quite a bit. Beautiful.
Yeah,
It's
I think,
come on, man. Like, it's so much better in the spring, right?
It makes you feel bad about your yard. But,
it really does. Yeah. Now I got a mole problem, like we were talking about.
But Cam, I thought a few like historically great moments from this Masters. Number one, we get Lee Elder. He's added to the honorary starters. He was the first ever African-American golfer to play at Augusta National. He gets to go out there. I believe he was with his grandson, who was his honorary caddy. I know, like with Jack Nicklaus and the rest of the guys out there, it used to be Arnold Palmer. You have their grandchildren or their children a lot of times come out there wearing the caddy outfit. But really cool to see Lee Elder out there in a year where we have seen just an absurd spike in Asian hate throughout the United States. To have Hideki Matsuyama win the tournament, I thought was unbelievable. Become the first Asian-born player to win the tournament. And now, like he said, he's excited to open the floodgates of Asian professional golfers at the major level. Thought that was unbelievable. And then really the moment I'll take away from me, Cam, his caddy, Shota Hayafuji, after everyone had left the green, everyone's heading back. You're seeing Hideki Matsuyama be followed by all of the cameras, everybody applauding him, heading to the clubhouse. His caddy takes the flag off the stick to keep as a souvenir, goes, puts the stick back in the hole, turns back towards the course, takes his hat off, hits it with a short bow, and then walks off, just paying his respects to the golf course, Cam. I thought just a ton of moments from this Masters that are going to stick with us for a long, long time.
Yeah, that's the great thing about sports. You have good moments about, winning, things like that, kind of historic moments. And like you said, the fact that he won in this time frame throughout the year, what's going on, that's actually really good for his culture, for him to put that out there on a bigger stage, just put on for what he stands for. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and he's a guy that I thought would have a really good chance at winning. I was kind of kicking myself because literally none of us picked him in our picks. And I was kicking myself when I saw how well he was doing on day one, because I'm like, this dude, the last decade has just consistently been on the leaderboard, right? You always see his name up there. And I remember there's certain guys, I'm just such a big Tiger Woods stan. Like there are so many guys that like I get annoyed by and I have like an unfair opinion about just because they would be like ahead of Tiger at Augusta. And I'm like, this guy needs to just fail right now. I need him to hit a ball in the water. I need this dude to hit a hook shank off the tee so Tiger can come back. And I feel bad because I go back and I watch these guys now and I'm like, Hideki Matsuyama is a great golfer, and he's had to adjust his swing. He's changed his coach, and now I think probably one of the top 10 golfers in the world right now. And like I said, even before the swing changes, you just always saw him on the leaderboard consistently. And those are the guys you see win the green jacket, right? The guys who battle, and then finally their year comes and they get that green jacket. I don't think it's the last one we're going to see him win. I think his game really suits the course, but just a ton of really awesome moments from this year's Masters. But Cam, I got some bad news for you. You finished in, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4th place out of 5 in our Masters pick. And you have the honor of having the worst Masters appearance by any of your golfers, and that being Rory McIlroy, who went 76 on Thursday and then 74 on Friday and didn't make the cut. But that being said, Bryson DeChambeau didn't play terribly. I think +5 on the tournament. And the guy I picked for you on 3 and out, Xander Schauffele, actually finished top 5. So there you go. I mean, 4th place is better than 5th. We reserved that spot for Ben Troop, who literally didn't have a golfer make the cut with his picks. But Cam, we'll try to get him next year, man.
It's okay. Y'all got me this time. Y'all got me this time. I can't be great every single time, so y'all got me this time. It's all
Cody,
right.
Cody, you got to you're the producer of the Back Nine Boys. I need you to set this up because Cam, tell me how wild this is. So each guy plays 4 rounds, right? And you had 3 guys, so 12 different rounds of golf. Rich Styles and I tied at 855 strokes to 855 strokes with our 3 golfers. I had Justin Thomas, John Rahm, and Tony Finau. He had Webb Simpson, Jordan Spieth, and Harris English. And you combine the 3 scores of each of those guys, comes out to 855, right? So, Cody, we have to have a playoff hole. I need you to set it up with Rich Styles. Get me out there. Look, he can use the old guy tees. It's fine. I'll let him use it. He can play on his home course. That's fine too. Get me out there. I need a playoff hole against Rich Styles so I can settle up as the champ.
I'm gonna tell you right now, you don't want no smoke from my boy Rich Homie Styles. You don't want that smoke.
I know he's gonna look better than me because my man's got the drip. I mean, literally Rich Styles with Rich Styles. But Cam, I'm taking this old guy down.
You better. That's who I'm rooting for you, so you better.
Look, Cody, you can be Rich's caddy. Cam, it would be my honor. You don't have to be my caddy. It'll just be my honor to have you out there with me so we can get this done. I think that makes some great content. We can film it. Me just beating up on old Rich Styles.
Man, how long have I been doing Back Nine Boys? About 5 years. Dude, it's been a minute.
You know what's the one thing that would get me? You know what the one thing would get me in this? And you can tell Rich this. I hope Rich is listening right now. Actually, Rich. I hope you're listening right now.
One thing the pot, dude. Yeah. I don't think you want this.
One thing that would get me is if Rich had the 6:45 a.m. tee time. Like that would,
he does.
That would hurt. Like they call them the dew treaders. They're out there and it's just moist out on the grass still, and you can hear like the birds waking up and Rich is teeing off on the first hole. That might get me.
Rich likes to wake up to literally watch the sun rise and drink his coffee. He is a guaranteed old guy.
Are you sure he went to sleep? Because it is Rich Homie Styles. Used to be like a DJ back in the day.
Maybe, DJ in Chicago in the 70s.
Did my man maybe just stay up all night and that's how he's watching the sunrise?
Hey, you don't know. Hey, that's how G's roll, man.
Sunglasses and Advil. Last night was mad real for Rich Styles. I'm just saying, Rich Homie Styles. We'll talk to him about it. He's gonna be on the show coming up at 4:20. We got to take a quick break. Final segment of Second Down coming up next. Why are you shaking your head, Cody? You don't like Collective Soul?
No, I don't. I don't listen.
Why are you shaking your head? So you want to play some Young Gravy on here?
Yes,
Let's get
Young
it.
Gravy.
Let's get some Young Gravy. No, thank you.
Maybe some Wu Tang.
I mean, if you can find Wu-Tang that we can play.
We can't. There's no.
I was gonna say, Cody, FCC regulations and all that. We're not on Sirius XM. This is not a. I mean, we podcast the show, but this is not a podcast platform that we're currently on right now. Big show coming up today. We're going to catch up with Connor Riley from Dog Nation. G-Day coming up 2:00 on Saturday. What does the backup quarterback rotation look like? We're going to be the starters in the secondary. A lot of big names on display. First chance to see Brock
How happy
Vandegrift.
are you to say that? Just to look for the backup quarterback instead of having a quarterback thing going on.
I could, I could take or leave spring games for the most part.
Okay.
I'll watch football pretty much in any capacity, but I just think, and specifically Kirby Smart, super vanilla spring games, you're going to see like maybe 10 or 12 plays out of the playbook. But I am excited to see guys like Brock. I'm always excited to see the freshmen, get a first look at the freshmen. So guys like Brock Vandegrift and Marius Mims out there, excited about that. But again, Connor Riley going to hop on, and we'll catch up with that old guy, Rich Stiles.
Oh, don't
I have
start
a playoff hole coming up against. We'll catch up with him coming up in the 4:00 hour. BJ Bennett, Ben Troop, Kevin Thomas coming up next on 3 and Out.